paper, I get why teams keep prioritizing it. It is so reliant on the amount of setup and the amount of early game prowess that you have that it might otherwise not be worth it. Or let's be completely fair to Afreeca, I think in that last game, it was not a draft or a compositional error. It was exclusively just mid to late game mistakes that got Afreeca into a situation where they were losing a game that, to be completely honest, like, there wasn't one. But I feel like they were in a good position to win it just with the power of their comp. And then, mistake after mistake, into a game-ending team fight, sealed the deal on that one pretty quickly. And are they going to menu here? That's the question.
Well, Afreeca, they could do it if they wanted to, but I actually think that leaving it up makes a lot of sense. You know, get yourself 2 power picks in the next round, and then Keen, he can grab... Oh, they are going to ban it, so... Finally, Udi is banned. It's not the way that I wanted it to be banned, however. Let's see how Gen.G are going to pivot from this one. As the Lilia taken away from Dread, I love that because Lilia has looked very, very powerful. Kai'Sa's still up. The Kalista, of course, just being pretty much a ruler and life-specific ban. Does open the doors for things like the Jarvan that we've seen in combination in many regions with the Kalista be extraordinarily powerful. And that's that first pick Nidalee that I was talking about. And we'll see how Afreeca are going to respond.
Maybe this is where you just pick away the Syndra as Fly here, even though I don't think... Fly, although he's had a really good series thus far, I don't even think you pick it just because Fly is going to be super happy and like he's going to have a great matchup. It's just specifically because BDD looked absolutely broken on the pick.
Yep.
But then you leave the Azir open, right? And BDD also looks broken on Azir. But the upside of Azir is that the setup with Nidalee is not nearly as good. And you have a lot more time to actually make plays and do stuff without having BDD shut you down again and again and again, which is of course what he did last game. So I quite like this Graves and Syndra because it is a super strong 2v2. If you can hit the scatter, you can basically always blow someone up in a matter of seconds. And Graves is actually able to keep up with the farming that Nidalee provides. Fun BDD goes Yone. Generally they go Azir. Oh, please do it.
I'd much prefer the Yone. The Yone is such a fun idea, but
they're playing with our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. BDD is going to go back to his Pigeon. It is just going to be that just control mage matchup in the mid lane, but this is a pick that we can certainly trust BDD on. Fly has also played a bit of Syndra so far, but he's not necessarily the laning player, right? So we're not expecting him to, you know, bully out BDD very early on as... Ruler once again going for that solo Aphelios, and it will be taken away.
And I think with the Azir, it makes a little bit more sense. Generally, I like drafting like super hard engage. I think that stuff like the Jarvan, especially if there's no fresh, right? Stuff like I talked about the Jarvan before, the Gragas in the top lane. These kind of picks, they can like just get on top of him and blow him up immediately. But you want to get an AD carrier first, because otherwise what happens is Kai'Sa definitely gets banned, and then you can possibly see something like a Tristana or a Xayah ban, and then you're left with like kind of a subpar AD carry, which I don't think Bang and Lahans need a subpar matchup, because I think that Ruler and Life in an even matchup win, and when they get an actual advantageous matchup, I think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm happy with the Kai'Sa prio here. Again, I would not mind seeing a fresh ban, but considering it was open last time and Gen.G didn't go for it, instead favoring Life on something a lot more aggressive, don't quite mind it. I could still... I don't think it makes a lot of sense in terms of like 2v2, but I could see Life just pick up the set here, because it's actually dropped from the ban rotation and something that he's so good at.
That's true. This is something that was banned in game number 1, but actually completely foregone throughout the rest of the series, so I'm glad you bring it up. Gen.G with another top lane ban that they can throw out towards Keen, just to make sure that Rascal is as comfy as he possibly can be. There's the set ban, like you were talking about. I'm glad you brought it up, because that is what's going to be dealt with right now. Does mean that Life can just go towards that Thresh like you were talking about, but still, not necessarily one of his mega power picks. Life has like a few champions that he's just super godlike on, and Set is absolutely one of those.
It's not like you're playing against, like, I think Kalin, for example, where if he gets his fresh, you're just like, oh no.
Yeah, or even Becca, for example.
Yeah.
Becca's super good.
Also works.
On that one.
Definitely agree. This is shaping up to be a blind pick Gnar here from Gen.G. I see a Gangplank bang. I'm like, yep, that is looking like a Gnar angle. Love the Nautilus here. I think Nautilus, in terms of raw strength, is not nearly where he used to be, but getting point and click CC into Nidalee, Aphelios, Azir makes me a very happy man. It has traditionally been a super strong combination with the Kai'Sa because of the ease of execution, right? Like you hit the hook,
give it to me. I love it.
Yes, definitely happening.
Bit of a troll there, but I would have liked it. Alawi, one of my personal favorite champions. For some reason, I really like champions that spawn random stuff on the ground.
So Zyra?
Yeah, Zyra and Alawi are like two of my favorite champions in the game. Don't know why.
Interesting.
Bit of a primal top lane being picked up here by Gen.G with the Gnar and the Nidalee. I like the synergy there, lore-wise. It's kind of cool. Looks like they come from a similar era. As Life is going to go back to... Oh, no. He was thinking about the Taric just to be glorious with all of his gems, but it will be the Galio in the end.
Outrageous.
Yeah, I know. Outrageous that they don't pick the Taric, to be honest.
Taric is one of those picks where into heavy AD compositions and compositions that engage linearly can be really good, but it's not a super strong pick. I think the Galio is a lot more...
Oh, yeah!
Yes! Thank you, Keen. I didn't even get a chance to talk about it because I mentioned the Gangplank earlier, and of course we were all thinking it. This is the counter matchup that we've seen go time and time again. Who has been the win condition for Afreeca this entire series? It has been Irelia. And if Afreeca actually, because I said this to you in the break, Afreeca actually like win game one on red side, then lose on blue side, and then win on red side again just because of this top lane counter matchup.
Straight up.
Today, I can see it happen with how Keen has been playing.
I mean, this is now the Keen buff, as well as Irelia never losing to Gnar ever.
Yes.
Like, ever.
Yes.
In the LCK. She's like 100% win rate in this particular matchup. The only Irelia losses that we've actually seen was, I believe, yesterday
it was Closer.
in that mid lane with Closer. But that is not the Gnar matchup, right? You can't really apply that to this situation. This is just a really rough lane for the Gnar, and we'll see whether Clid can play around it, or whether it's going to be Dread delivered towards that top side to try and fight this one out.
The downside of the Irelia pick here, though, is that while in terms of laning power, it's absolutely disgusting. Rascal can go for steel caps and be fairly happy because there's not that much CC outside of the Irelia stun, and Dread brings nothing, right? And if there's someone who's going to be top side, it's generally Dread. And playing Irelia into Azir and Galio doesn't feel great. Because the like as Irelia, either you 100-0 someone in the team fight, or it's a skirmish, or like Ruler kills you, right? There's not a lot of space there, and what both BDD and Life can do for Ruler here is create space with the Shurima Shuffle, with a taunt. Just give him like a half a second, and Ruler's Aphelios will shred through everyone, including in Irelia. So Keen actually does need to get a big lead in the laning phase here. But at the start of the day, I would have said it and would be like, maybe it will happen, you know, who knows? Right now, I'm scared for Rascal.
Oh, me too. Oh, Dread getting some buckshot there into both Clid and Rascal. Look at the value. Quick drawing forward. What a beast. Avoids yet another spear as well as Fly. I believe missed that Q, but that's fine. Just a bit of biffo to start this one off as Lahen's once again just going to decorate the enemy jungle with a few of these wards. And they do so. These are exactly the wards that they placed down at the beginning of game number one to make sure they knew exactly where Clid was going to be pathing around. And it's likely to be once again one of these situations where Clid starts on his red and will path towards topside and see what he can get done up there.
The 2v2s today have been largely in favor of Keen and Dread. And I think in this scenario as well, unless you get good setup with Rascal, which is kind of hard, I don't think you win that early on just because of like the raw power of Irelia in these type of messy skirmishes. So then you need a good Narbar, right?
Yeah.
That's not a position you get in super easily in the beginning of the lane. As BD, he loves his Azir.
He certainly does. 40-24. That is 64 games of Azir so far in his career. And yeah, that's a lot. Certainly one of his more played champions so far, and certainly a lot of comfort that we saw picked away from him earlier on.
Ruler missed free creeps there. That's going to be fairly painful in terms of his laning phase.
Oh, did he get the experience?
No. That's what sorry. I should clarify. That's what the observer showed us as well. Like,
he missed XP on 3.
He didn't get the experience.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
actually huge for the bottom lane.
Well, yeah, the thing is Dread is pathing away from it, so it doesn't give as much of an advantage as it otherwise would, so I'm pretty sure that Ruder and Life will be able to kind of cover for this. But you can see it as well, right? Life already level 2 here, and it is something that shouldn't really happen.
Yeah, there's a big old nah, though, as Rascal just going to get solo killed at level 2. Oh my god, Keen. I can't believe, like, I was so nonchalant because I just wasn't expecting that kill to come through because, like, Mega Nah was there, like, gets all the health back, should be fine. Nah, isn't fine. I've seen this before, Chronicler, like, oh god, and another stun. More free damage. He's under the turret, he wants to do it back-to-back. He's level 3, back-to-back solo kills, and he gets out with the flash. Oh, pack it up, we done. Give it to Afreeca.
No way.
Oh no, now he's back and Clint's gonna come through! Oh, come on, that's not fair.
Oh my god, Keen.
Well, top lane's over. Now?
It's not just over, he teleport, because listen, so this solo kill happens, right? And that should never be a thing, first and foremost. But Keen, he has the 5 stacks, then goes in, procs his Conqueror, and the stickiness of Aurelia in this early game scenario is just a nightmare to deal with. And here I was going to say, just this health trade is already really good. Any health you trader as King you'll take, right? Like you can back here, you can get the free back, and then like you get the wave, you pick it up. But instead, he finds a freaking solo kill again!
Oh my god.
And now there's no teleport available. Yes, you die here. Ah, boom.
But there's no assist going over. Like this doesn't do anything in the top lane at all.
You still have teleport available. Keen can still like trade so aggressively here. Yes, due to that gank, right? Like, and him not using his teleport, he's gonna have to wait for this wave to crash before he can actually take control of the lane again. But that's a very small window where Rascal has a semblance of control, and then it's going to be him just being absolutely atrociously terrified of Keen, who has been playing like a monster today.
God, he is so good. And yes, this is a fantastic matchup for Aurelia, but it's not back-to-back solo kill type matchup, right? Like, that should never happen.
Oh my god. No. That's like... I think it was, I'm not sure if it was yesterday even, where someone said, no, it's not actually a counter. Like, it really doesn't counter now. It's more like it's a strong laning matchup, right? So you can get prio and like you can have pressure. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. But I see this and I'm like, Keen, if he can just freeze the wave there, Rascal does not get to play the game. And
I'm putting it down, like, dear diary, this top lane is 100% counter matchup territory for Aurelia. How the heck are you supposed to play it as Nah? Looks impossible. Yeah. This is what Keen showed me today. That's what I'm putting in my journal.
Keen really teaching us stuff here today.
Yeah, he is.
Touching all our hearts with the scariest of Aurelia plays. And I'm really curious to see how Afreeca is going to leverage this, right? Because this should, no matter what, lead to the early gold lead that's already there. Then subsequently, priority on Herald, which you can snowball into more and more and more. And this would like Afreeca to go for some bot focus right now, which with the pathing of Dread could definitely come through. Shove out that bot wave, pick up an early Drake, and then you can leave Bangalhands alone for a long time. And what we said earlier came true as well, like they weren't actually able to get anything out of that early game. Right? Like, yes, Ruda missed 3 creeps worth of experience, but Bangalhands couldn't actually push that, and considering how this lane has gone so far, I'm not super surprised by that.
Well, Dread once again going to find Clid, who just blast cones the Graves out of there. As every time the Blade Surge goes off,
I don't like them going for, like, legitimately at this point. Keen is 6. Like, I think if you go for that, you just die.
Well, BDD is going to go down very low, and the line comes in there as Unleashed Power, not quite enough damage. Dread going to get the smite off for the health back. Clid does the same thing as Keen, moving on down. Oh my goodness, you see him and it looks like, you remember that Avatar movie and those really terrifying bulldozers? That's what he looks like here as Yellowhands goes in, picks up the kill under the turret onto Clid, and Fly is going to be gifted with a fantastic lane position as Big Nah into the wall there, but this is a big Aurelia as well. And it's just not going to quite be enough to get control of the wave.
Oh, the lane is pushing away. Oh, never mind. I was like, oh, Keen, you can let it push towards you. You know, you can freeze that. Baby. But, I mean, it doesn't matter, because from what we've seen thus far, if you're mini Nah and hits a stun on the turret, you're dead anyway. So why would you not just shove and get plates? Yeah, I get it.
I don't know, man. Feel like this game is this is already skewed completely out of position as Dread is going to face check Rascal, but who's face checking who right now as he finds the anemic Gnar underneath his turret and will be denied even more. There's the heal to allow Bang to follow, but Rula's going 1 versus 2. Flashes on out, Bang misses the Void Seeker, which would have won them that, but that was Rula by himself against 2 people.
Who can carry harder, Atlas? Is it topside or is it bottom? It has been the question of this series. And it's coming into fruition here as well. Again, Rula just showing that he is on a whole different level when it comes to ADC power. But simultaneously, like, that should be a kill 100%, right? Like, Bang, if you hit that Void Seeker, you actually punish Rula. Instead, Rula was able to turn it around, and this leads to a Drake. I think this is still, as a Freeca, not something that you really care about, but it is one of those things where, like, imagine if a Freeca was also able to actually punish that in bot lane. Then this game will be over. Like, it would legitimately be over, right? Like, if you get these kind of leads in every lane, then all of a sudden the game becomes unsalvageable. What this does for Gen.G is it means that even though, yes, Rascal is basically going to be a cute, yelling, tiny orange caster minion.
It is 100% orange buff.
The bot side is still going to be completely okay, right? Like, Rule is still going to be incredibly scary. BDD has been completely fine in his matchup. He's a wave up, and he's just going to scale and do what BDD does in the late game. So then the question becomes, how much can Afreeca actually get out of this top side? And again, prior to the games earlier today, I wouldn't... yeah, that's fine. You know, that's okay. You get it.
Sometimes you just got to put down a collateral damage and then secure a Grump with a smoke screen. That's just part and parcel with how we do things here in the LCK, as he gives us the good old the Ramus okay. That is definitely an odd way of going about it. However, sometimes you just need to press an R button. I get that itchy finger. I like it. I like it a lot.
Are we seeing it in the LCK?
Yeah, that was it was looking pretty chilly up there, wasn't it?
Oh, winter is coming, Atlas.
Oh my, don't remind
Possibly.
me, okay? Come on. You don't talk about that show ever again.
I stopped watching. I just read the books.
Oh, right.
Because I was at a point where I was like,
so you still like it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really,
wow,
that's
that must be a weird, it must be a weird feeling.
Yeah, no, I'm never going to watch it.
Good, don't. Well, actually, you know, watch up to season 7, I guess. Even though I wouldn't even get up that far.
I'm good. You know, the books are great.
Yeah,
really enjoyed those.
True. I felt like he explains a little bit too much. I wasn't a huge fan of the pros. Okay, Rascal, not going to get stunned this time. That would have been possibly death. As I don't know why he's still tangoing with the Aurelia, but he is. Nidalee going to be able to lock down that Mountain Drake. As we've got... oh no, my cloud senses are tingling once again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's doing it again.
Yeah,
everyone at home, I need your energy.
Always bring the weather.
Give us an infernal, okay? We can do it together. We can beat Atlas.
Well, I'm going to need all your powers combined because apparently my my cloud abilities are just too strong.
Oh, that's interesting. They're going to go for just plates here, and I kind of get it. I feel like Keen, even though he has such a big lead, is actually kind of hard to, as Aurelia, actually push in terms of plates, right? Unless Gnar is dead, because if you just give him free hyper procs, he can still turn the matchup around. And you just want to freeze there as Keen, which is what he's been doing, which is why Rascal is having such an atrocious time.
I actually feel like denying the Gnar is far more valuable, and you can do that much better if you don't let the wave fully head back towards the inner turret. So I like the idea. I think you're onto something with that one. As Fly unable to get too much more than the couple of plates that he was delivered. Now Afreeca, they've got a bit of a shove here towards the bottom side, but once again, about a 20 CS gap for Rula, who has just been the better player in this bottom lane so far. But I think this is a game that Afreeca don't really need to do too much as a bottom lane duo. Lahen's just going to be starting these fights so that Keen can pop off towards the mid to late game.
Because one of the issues is that we're getting super hypey about Keen, which I think is justified because he's a monster. Still, I'm not loving this unless you like 100-0 him. Yeah, I can see him turn this. So Keen, if he can flash the stuns, might be fine here, but it's risky.
Yeah, BDD's coming up as well. Now Keen's trying to pull that wave back. Mega Gnar in a decent timing as the Gnar comes out. As Keen is just going to get around the side. Spear is going to connect there as Clid dives on forward. Keen is taken down. Unleashed power, not enough to take down Rascal. And Keen did whatever he could, but that spear landing, that was definitely the death nail.
Yeah, BDD also roaming over there was definitely too much when I was saying maybe you can turn it around. Did not see the Azir coming up because the 3-man is, you know, 2-man is outplayable. 3-man is unfortunately a death sentence, even though he does start it for a fairly long time. Hands, he's the king of hooks.
Yep.
Doesn't even need to. No, no hooks. But even with Keen this fed, actually utilizing this Aurelia in a 4-1 kind of situation is still something you need to execute well on.
Well, Dred's going to dive on over. There's the depth charge onto Clid. Pulled back with the dredge line from Lehens. And he is going to be able to lock down that kill. Heroic entrance immediately is going to be interrupted. Life gets over the wall, but Keen executes him. Now, BDD trying to get those work done. Commands those soldiers to do it. As that's a great stopwatch from Lehens as Keen just goes all the way around and now tries to find the pigeon. But there's a big old gnaw that they now have to deal with. Dred gets the smite off for the health back as we can see this fight battling on both sides as Keen. Oh, he gets the tribute, but it's not quite enough to keep him alive. And once again, he is going to fall down as Ruler fighting bang on the bottom side. There was so much excitement, and now we just see 280 carries.
I kind of thought that Ruler was just going to solo kill him.
Yeah, I know. I thought, like, let's keep the hype going, guys. Let's go.
And couple of interesting decisions there from either team. Love the presence of mind of Afreeca to just, like, Clid's there. He's dead, right? Like, even through the exhaust, the sheer amount of damage coming through from Ignite, depth charge, hook, and Dred being in melee range immediately blows up this Nidalee as I think
you don't need to see this one again.
Play this as well as humanly possible, but like I said, I think 3 people is too much. If there's not an Azir also free hitting here, I think there's a world in which Keen lives for a little bit longer, right? And then maybe you turn it around. That's not the case. This is really cute though. Dred standing there in the Rift Herald and Baron Pit, and then they hunt it to 0. This is still looking fine. But the problem here is that Keen, by going over this wall, takes away a lot of the damage, right? Like, Dred has used his entire combo, he needs to reload, meaning that both BDD and Rascal can, in case of BDD, do a lot of damage, in case of Rascal, charge up the Narbar and be like a really, really big threat. And then we don't see this, but on the bot side, Keen actually misses a stun, which would have gotten him the free kill. Never. Thank you, Observer.
Yeah,
really
here we go.
That. If you
Jonas
hit that,
always got you.
Right, it's like that. Then it's just a free kill. Now you trade kills, which as Keen, I think you're still going to take. But giving shutdown gold over to BDD is a really good way to make your later game fairly unhappy.
Yep.
When push comes to shove, though, more gold on Keen is good, because I think you just want to park him in the side lane and leave it at that. Oh!
It's a big old stun as Keen. That was an interesting W to start things off. Just wanted to make sure he got the reset off the minion, I guess. But I'm not going to eventuate into anything, as we do have an Ocean Drake taken, and let's cross our fingers. There we go. All right.
We did it.
Okay, BDD might be in trouble here, but does ulti his way out. Unleash power, not enough. As Fly, the level of gameplay just not quite enough here. Coming out of our mid laner. BDD gets to the safety of the turret for the moment. Sand Soldier's going to get to work on the wave. Spear going to go wide, and Clid just going to try and help out. Okay, they might look for the 100-0. Collateral damage comes in, and Dred cleans it up with the help of his Gale Force. Like it a lot. And yeah, Clid is having a rough game here in game number 2.
It's not just Clid having a rough game. I think this goes back to the point we were making earlier, where I think we need to start talking about Dred as actually one of the strongest junglers on his current form, right? Like within the LCK, which is nuts to me, because that was not where he was at the beginning of this split. But he has been winning every jungle matchup for like the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
And like,
it's wacky.
Like consistently, he's been playing so incredibly well.
Even in games that they lose, right?
Yeah.
Dred is never the problem.
And
apart from earlier in the season.
Well, yeah, no, definitely. But that's my point. Like,
yeah.
I'm impressed by how well he's been able to develop. As this is actually fairly important. Picking up that turret gold, giving it over to Ruler exclusively, is the type of thing that it makes me still very apprehensive about where the series is going to go. Because what I'm not seeing here from Afreeca Freecs is the start-to-finish dominance of game number 1, and that puts them in a scenario where the mistakes of game number 2 can yet again come to fruition.
Well, let's watch Dred do this again. Nice sidestep on the spear, and it's pretty classic follow-up. As I love this, the collateral damage into the Gale Force, just to make sure that he gets all of that damage. Always looks cool when people play with their Gale Force like that.
Like, whoop, and then you win.
Whap, whap.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Man.
Beautiful.
Graves, when played by like actually good players, it's so much smoother. When you try to play him himself, you're like, wait, why does he feel so clunky? Well, I need to reload. Like, what is happening? And then you see
when you see the Graves flow, when the Graves flow works, it works real well.
I mean, I think we can all look at Kenyon as like the absolute best when it comes to that. That's basically
the quintessential Graves.
It's like one of the reasons why Dumon won Worlds. There were a lot of reasons, but his Graves was definitely one of them.
Yes, I would agree.
I like this. There's no objectives on the map, so I would be amenable to this if Bang does need to be a little bit careful here.
He's baiting, 100% baiting. Rascal's just gone for a merry jaunt up the bottom lane. As you can see though, this is going to take a bit of time. They're using Shirley as a bit of a battering ram, as now Fly taking a bit of damage, but B2D also walking the wrong direction. Gen.G are like, red side's been winning. Well, we're red side now, as all of them move to that side of the map. Rascal's still there as well, as you can see. You can see there's a Graves on the bottom side of the map. He's taking an inner turret, but it's being traded 1 for 1. That's an interruption onto Rascal, as Bang's going to find melee range, but this is a mini-Nars. It's a very different circumstance. However, maybe he's created enough distance. The big old hop's going to do it. As the Graves is pretty scary as well, even though he is at half health. As there they go, they get themselves the vision, and the Acathian Rain will do it. Bang secures the solo kill in the end, but just was a bit of Rascal being between a rock and a hard place.
It took so long as well. I think that they thought that he got away there. They kept looking for him, and they kept waiting. And then eventually they were able to pick up what feels like should have picked him up a minute ago. And if you don't find this Void Seeker, the play just basically doesn't happen. Bang using a supercharge there offensively is something that I don't think is really necessary. And he gets away with it, right? Like he still has flash and heal.
I think, he didn't need to Gale Force there, I don't think.
No, because if you, like, he has to path into you. There's a Nautilus coming up behind him. He doesn't have the Narbar. It's giving up some consistency of the play to get a little bit more speed, a little bit more tempo. And this is a story we've been telling of this game. It's top side versus bot side.
Well, here's a bit of a team fight as there's the flash out from the hands. Aftershock doing a lot of work as he gets stunned up by the Gravitum. This blue buff very confused, but finally does get a little bit of attention.
That hook. I'm like, that's one of those hooks where, like, as Nautilus, you're like, actually, I didn't want to throw that. I'm very happy it didn't hit anyone, because...
take it all back, I take it all back.
Oh, no. I want that.
They need to be fighting around Keen as well, because he has a lot of their money. Yes, Dread has a big advantage, but you got to realize that if you're playing 4v4 and your Aurelia's not there, then you're actually at a disadvantage in a lot of cases.
But this is the problem that I have with the Afreeca comp, as opposed to game number 1, where I feel like it was something where they could reliably team fight. If you don't find a flanking position as Keen, it's actually really hard to have a reliable impact, again, because of the deterring factors on the side of Gen.G. If Rascal is close to Mega, you're in trouble. If life is anywhere near you, you can't go in because you will get taunted. BDD has the shuffle, which if he doesn't use it offensively, which let's be honest, BDD can definitely do that if he sees an opening. But if he doesn't and he holds it, then Keen doesn't actually have a lot of space to go in.
Oh, here's the engage. Emperor's Divide's going to be flashed there by Fly, but he's still going down extraordinarily low. Vanguard's edge into the backline. Killer Instinct to follow up as well as Life is getting focused by Keen. Takes a lot of the aggro away as it's an even trade in the end. Fly keeps himself alive as BDD now going to get stunned up and punished by Keen. I think Keen could have had a little bit of a different focus there to help things out, but they still win the fight.
It's still an advantageous trade, and it will get them to a second Drake. However, the Drake taking rate of all of these games, Red, has been incredibly low, Atlas. Like, it's something that we haven't really talked about yet, but this is, again, it's 21 minutes. There's games where people are at soul point here, and you're playing for, like, the final Drake. But both of these two teams are so incredibly focused on early game power that I feel like they should be able to do this, but with how good Ruler has been playing, I can't really fault them, and there comes a teleport, and it's even going to be Gen.G who gets the Drake?
Yeah, this is a little bit sad for Afreeca, unfortunately. Fly could have gone back and actually teleported back in with full health, potentially, but look, this is all hindsight, and that is, of course, 2020. It's still a 2,000 gold lead for Afreeca, and like you say, these Drakes have been well and truly delayed, so it's only Drake number 2 for Gen.G. Pardon me, that was a bit of a hiccup. Mid-sentence, but yes. Let's have a look at this fight one more time. The Emperor's Divide flashed there by Fly quite nicely. but still takes a lot of damage. Vanguard's edge is very good.
And that's the one way that you do have an impact. Also, Lahan's treading the needle there on the hook is finding a big Vanguard's edge and limiting the mobility of your opponents. But as you say, like Keen goes really deep for BDD here because he doesn't find the reset earlier on. So, because as you can see here, like this Vanguard's edge, absolutely glorious, right? Really good flash from Fly as well.
Oh, the barely sidestepping.
Because now they're stuck in there. But the problem is that the moment that they get out of that zone and you don't get the Q reset, you're just like, you're Aurelia, and like just awkwardly kind of walk after them.
Ooh, quick draw's good. As there's the dredge line, another one that you could regret, but Lahens isn't going to. There's the Moonlight Vigil to come through for the stun. Speaking of stuns, Fly gets in there. Collateral damage doing a lot of work as another Emperor's Divide comes down and snags two. Ruler grabbing his first kill. Fly limping away from this fight as Keen looking to get towards the back line, but you can see, oh, Ruler getting tagged. Vanguard's edge comes in as now it's the Keen show. Looking for the resets as Clit trying to run away. There are 4 people still alive, but the Aurelia is still terrifying. He has no flash, sidesteps the needle quite nicely as he gets on in. Oh, that is beautiful from BDD. Gets another cooldown on the Blade Surge and does execute the Aurelia.
That was so cleanly played there from Gen.G, and this is where we see the big difference between these two teams. Even with all the credit we're giving Afreeca, you can't count out Gen.G. They can find these openings just through impeccable mechanical play. And I want to draw attention to the fact that this is also, if I'm not mistaken, a team fight that started without your strongest member, right? So they need to play it slow, they need to try and kite back. But this scatter is kind of the sign that, okay, never mind, we're going to go for it. And I think they see, look at this, spear from Clit there. From that point on, they exactly know where Keen is. Ruler getting hit by the scatter there creates a situation in which it's still possible for them to get a play, but with Rascal transforming into Maganav form, Bang doesn't actually get to do any more damage. Keen is stuck here in the middle without actually having a reset, and then he goes for the Q on top of BDD. And it looks kind of trouble. Like, Keen is never going to be in a position here where anyone on Gen.G actually allows him to get a Q reset, right? Like, they're all taunting him, like walking back and forth. Yeah. But he's a melee, even though it doesn't feel like that with Aurelia's auto attack range. Like, you're melee, and they don't need to really get into your range. And it's so close. You can taste Afreeca, right? Like, you can sense how close that's actually winning these skirmishes, but it needs to be a little bit cleaner. Bang needs to get a little bit more done, right? Like, he needs to find more damage, because if he gets blown up, you can't rely on just Dread and Keen to do the damage. And Fly's scatters have been super good as well, and now it's a Baron loss, and they're still pushing?
Yeah, this is like Afreeca actually pulling back that Baron power play. As Ruler setting here up in the mid lane. He's a trebuchet this game, by the way. Like, they are playing around him, and Lahens knows that. Flashes on in. Gets taunted for his trouble, but they do at least bully Gen.G away from this turret. That is very, very aggressive. Ruler, no flash, no heal. Now going to move towards this bottom lane to grab this inner turret. So, Gen.G do manage to pull Afreeca around the map enough in order to grab themselves an objective. Now teleporting into the mid lane to set up the siege here.
And you need to really respect the damage that is going to come out of it, because this is like game 2, right? Like, lose one fight here and the game is just immediately over.
Oh yeah.
They don't really have a flanking position. This is not the position you want to be in as Afreeca. Like, straight up engaging into the composition of Gen.G is kind of a nightmare for all the reasons we talked about previously. And the poke wall, you're also not really going to win against the Nidalee Azir. So it's a tough position to be in, and I think as Afreeca you just need to try and weather the storm, hold on for the next 45 seconds, and hopefully be able to contest this Drake. I don't think Gen.G is going to give you the opportunity though, which means they will be at soul point, synchronized recalls. You love to see it here. I say as
Rascal sticking
like,
around.
Nope, I'm not going to listen to you, you silly, silly caster. I'm gonna shove the wave, get prio. And I think it's fine in this specific instance. Maybe he also doesn't have anything particularly useful to buy, as long as he doesn't die.
Well, he's just going to try and keep control of this wave. Has that Baron-empowered minion buff, so it's going to allow him to deny Afreeca any shove out here in the mid lane, which will get them positional advantage around this Drake, and guarantee that Infernal Soul point like you were talking about. I like the play. You can see Afreeca not going for anything. Flies up towards the top side. And Wit's End now completed for Keen. See whether he actually ever builds a Mythic this game, but so far going for a little bit more of that on-hit build with the Sterix for some safety.
And it's understandable considering what happened last game, or what happened last fight rather. Like, where was the damage really coming from? It was mainly BDD just auto-aim with soldiers, right? And like an Italy spear that Clid started the fight off with. Both of those are now kind of alleviated. that one was for the viewers, right? That was Dread saying,
very cute.
Sup, guys? I'm here. He doesn't know, but you guys know. You can see what's happening here.
I like the little doggo at the end. That was my favorite part. This game's still very, very close, Chronicler. It's interesting. Like, it feels like Gen.G have a lot of the control, and they're playing around Ruler, you know, the super carry of Gen.G. In fact, probably our biggest super carry from the 80 carry role that we have here in the LCK. And he is scary on this Aphelios right now. But there is a world where he just gets executed by Keen diving into a backline, finding a stun. There's a killer instinct to follow up and things like that. Lahens is creating a ruckus and Dread's also doing a lot of damage. Like, Afreeca, there is a world where they find these team fights.
In a world where
coming this summer,
Keen gets even more solo kills.
One desire, just take down the Aphelios. That's all we need to do. Can we do it?
We'll have to find out, I think, maybe in the next installment of team fights in this game, as we are certainly doing a bit of a K-Ram. Gen.G decide to opt out.
As you said, you focused on Ruler. I think that's completely justifiable. If he lives, your fight becomes really hard. Unfortunately for Afreeca, Gen.G is, BDD is also an absolute monster, right? Like, he's gone for a much tankier build, which is really interesting, because I actually quite like this considering the state of the game, where you're facing off against a team with basically no front line, but a whole lot of damage, right? Like, everyone on the opposing team wants to kill you, besides Lance, who wants to kill you, but he needs help.
I mean, he wants to.
Yeah,
it's just not gonna work,
he's just not going to be able to, but like, he will try. And then you have BDD, who's went for Merc Threads, right? He's gone for Hail Blades, which, in terms of late game teamfight damage, is also not nearly as strong.
Oh yeah,
but
I didn't check that one out. This is like the first time I've seen Halo Blades for quite some time on the Azir. But we had a conversation about this earlier. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, completely fine. Because it is interesting, right? And like, what it allows BDD to do is like take control of the lane. He does have 40 CS lead, I think, in terms of laning power. He is also someone that can definitely outmatch Fly. But my point being, BDD being tankier just means that he can just do damage for the entirety of this fight. And between Demonic Embrace and Leandries, it's going to be so much. And the effective health that it gives him, the time that it buys him, with a comp like this, I think is going to work out really, really well for them. So some interesting itemization choices here coming out from both sides. And these straight up 5v5 scenarios are so hard to play for Afreeca. It's all going to come down to what can Keen do.
And what can Lahens start as well as Keen? Speaking of which, he's going to have to go golden at the very beginning of this one. See whether he can get some resets as he flashes immediately over the wall now. Life has to use his stopwatch as well. Rascal now getting closed in on by the Aurelia, but she keeps herself alive, has to use flash, has to use stopwatch. And that is a huge deal. Gen.G think that it's enough to get them a Baron. We'll have to find out whether it is. As Ruler as well now sitting on both summoner spells. Every defensive ability that he has is still available.
And you can notice how tense this is, because as either team, if you lose the fight here, the game is basically over, right? You might not outright lose your Nexus, but you're going to lose complete tempo, you're going to lose control of your base, inhibitors are going to get cracked open, and particularly for Afreeca, that's a really bad situation. Maybe they'll be forced into a trade between Soul for Gen.G and Baron, where Afreeca just get an Infernal Drake, and then Gen.G get Baron, which is a trade they'll take anytime that they can. Afreeca doesn't care, or they don't care about Afreeca getting one Infernal. And it looks like that's what's going to happen. I love that from Gen.G, realizing like, why would we go to Baron? Like, I don't think you guys can do Baron, and even if you do, if we get Soul, that's completely okay. Then you do actually need to mind your timings though, because Dragon is still 35 seconds away, and the Afreeca have started the Baron here. They go through it quick.
Yep, Lahen's going to get missed, but is spotted by the sweeper. Here's the teleport in. This is going to be a battle. We'll see whether the Baron is going to be included in that. There's the dredge line. Lahen's not into the wall, but he's the only one hit by the CC. Now Fly trying to look for a flank, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough, as there's the Sterix. The shield going to be taken down. The Kaiser eliminated. The Aurelia gets the same treatment. Dread now trying to run away, and Ruler and BDD do way too much damage. Gen.G will win the fight, and this may just be the game.
And Dread is running away. He gets Gromp. That's not something you're going to be happy with. And I said, maybe if you lose the fight, it won't be immediately be the end of the match. Gen.G, they don't even care about the soul. They don't need it. And it is yet again BDD on his trademark Azir that, in my opinion, finds the win. He finds the shuffle, the two most important members. Keen can't do anything. Ruler, hero that he is, immediately flashes forward into an Aurelia as Aphelios, just to blow them up. And Gen.G is really, okay, we just get the inhib, we get the soul, and then we path to Baron, and then the game is basically over. And I think that that's what's going to happen here. So again, they take a lot of damage from Baron here. There's not actually any sustain on the sides of Afreeca, but this fight still seems a little bit doable when Keen doesn't get hit. But there's so much damage down already, and look at BD, look at this. It forces Dread away, and gets Bang and the Aurelia from Keen. And then Ruler flashes forward, they die, end of the game. That's
just beautiful.
Oh.
Life as well, the heroic entrance to make sure you could layer the CC at the same time. As we just had an inhibitor taken, so the game isn't in fact over.
Do it.
The Infernal Soul
Freeca. Flip it.
Is taken.
Flip it.
We're doing this one more time, okay? This is the sequel. We'll see whether it's better than the original. As Life not going to find the Justice Punch. The Baron is secured by Afreeca. That's a decent stun, and then the pick off as Bang dives into the backline. Looks to try and create a rocket as he flashes. The Emperor's Divide, and BDD is taken out of the fight, but Ruler is the other carry in this one, and he is so scary. Aurelia already dealt with. Ruler at full health with the long-range weapons. And now it's just Afreeca trying to get the hell out of here. And wins the war, not quite enough. There is now Bang looking to try and dive on top of Clid. Wants to get the takedown, does so easily. And yep, that wasn't going to be it there for Bang. However, they got a Baron. We're still in the game, you know?
In spirit, definitely.
No, Spirit was replaced by Dread, unfortunately.
Oh no, too soon, man, too soon. And I actually think it's that Kai'Sa Nautilus combination that we talked about earlier, because BDD can basically do nothing in that fight because he gets depth charged immediately during the killer instinct from Kai'Sa. So they blow up BDD. The problem is, you don't need to kill just BDD, you also need to kill Ruler. And Ruler had enough peel that Keen tried to jump on top of him, and then they was like, haha, no, there's a Galio here. And then Keen died, and then that's not where you want to be. And this is I think this goes back to what we said at the beginning of the game. Yes, Aurelia, monstrously fed, but if you are in a situation like this where you can't really force a 4-1 type of scenario where you can keep Keen in the side lane, where he can just duel basically everyone and even sometimes two people, in a straight up 5v5, it's so hard. And you need to kill both BDD and Ruler. If you get one, no. That's especially with the soul. No, need both. But you won't get both, which is kind of a problem.
It's a little bit too hard. I actually kind of want Keen to build a Sunfire Aegis. I know it sounds weird.
Oh, no, it's
but think about all of the items that they have.
I agree.
He'd have so much tenacity.
Oh, I agree.
And it'd be very hard to keep him out of the fight. However, we're a long way away from that. Looks like GA is on the way here for the Aurelia. And look, you've got a 2-7 Gnar just getting straight hard carried by this Aphelios and the Azir.
To give credit to Rascal, I feel like his team, he's recognized, guys. I am just here to press R when anyone comes near Ruler. That's my job. That's all I need to do. Just do that. Especially with that. There's a Dread.
And now Dread's just going to do a drive-by. He's like, this is my Tommy gun. Check it out. Okay, I'm out of here.
See ya.
Yeah, and he did that. As okay. That's a flash. He had to use that. Valuable button in order to.
Lahens giveth and Lahens taketh away. In this case, his own flash.
In this case, a fair bit of taketh away. As we can see, Afreeca now grouped back up as 5. Another Dread line is going to connect. This time it's on to Life. Good layering of CC right now as Dread locks down the Gargoyle. The teleport in from Rascal. He's like, where did everyone go?
He gives. Lahens gives.
Yeah, there we go. I guess we're back to the take it away. Let's keep our eye on Lahens and see what's going to happen. Certainly never a dull moment.
Not one day. Not one dull day. And yes, as Gen.G, you're in a really good position. I'm fairly certain that if you play this one out cleanly, if you just play for the Elder, and you force him to come into you in a straight-up 5v5, you'll be fine. And at this point, we didn't finish making fun of Lahens, right?
And we're not going to anymore, actually.
Oh no. I wouldn't dare. and then she just gets blown up, and it's not even, like, it doesn't actually open up the map, it doesn't actually give you anything here as a Freeca, but it does end that push, and that's all you really need at this point in time. The problem is that that soul is so much value because, talk about everyone on Freeca having damage, is basically the same kind of scenario for the jungler, mid, and AD carry all can make great use of this. And Ruler in a scenario like this is just a nightmare. I think the only one who I'd argue they can match him in like late game teamfight prowess would be like maybe Teddy, and that's pretty much it. I actually
feel like T1's bottom lane, as it currently stands, is probably the only one comparable to Gen.G right now.
Yeah, and then it's so hard. It's like what Afreeca Freecs needs to do here is find an absolute miracle of a team fight. And in terms of setup, they don't have map control, right? Because normally maybe Keen can get a big teleport flank, right? Maybe you can like make a play from Fog of War. Maybe Lahens can find an angle. But none of that will really work, as you see even Lahens, like Nidalee with Ocean Soul scales pretty decently. Like, we give Nidalee a lot of flack for being like, she needs to do something early game, and then she goes Night Harvester. Where is our Moonstaff? Nidalee, like, which is fair. I don't disagree with that argument. But in case of specifically Infernal Soul Nidalee, even at 40 minutes into the game, you're like, sure, you know, that's look,
ow,
look.
That's a nuke. It is straight up a nuke.
Oh.
As Dread wants to eat some popcorn chicken. Thankfully, it's about to spawn as Afreeca just trying to hold on to this newly respawned inhibitor.
Fly is not your flanker. That is not who you want. This is just going to be gone.
Yeah. Keen teleports towards the bottom side. They do have vision of the area, but Keen walks over a control ward. He knows that he's been seen. And yeah, that's just a free Elder. Now there is no way Afreeca can fight. They've been struggling to win team fights already. And I think the Elder Drake is just going to be a little bit too much.
Unless... No, I don't have an unless. Like I usually do.
Unless Gen.G's hands fall off.
But I think in League of Legends, we've had a lot of unless situations. We talked about the heritage of SKT being a team that no matter what the goal deficit was, they could find a way. If there was an angle, they would find it. Unfortunately for Afreeca Freecs in this game, Riot introduced Elder Buff. Elder Buff doesn't allow for those kind of scenarios. Yes, Dread gets out, but the Baron is taken, and there is no amount of like outplay and like.
You can't outplay a giant dragon coming from the sky to rip you apart. It's just
doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. It's a little bit too much. As Afreeca now just trying to push out their waves as much as possible. They do manage to get bot and mid to a decent spot as Bang cancels a few of his recalls. Definitely didn't want to do that as there is a 5-man stack of Gen.G pushing towards their top inhibitor. They will be able to transition to the mid lane one as well. Needless to say, they don't need a minion wave whatsoever. Keen still just trying to run them around the map right now, as Gen.G without minions are going to struggle to pressure forward. So this game is continuing. It's an odd one.
This kind of feels like you know, it's like a necromancer situation where you see the zombie like still shuffling around. You're like, oh. I mean, you need to be careful about that.
What?
But
which necromancer? When you say necromancer, I think that like I'm just maxing skeletons in Diablo 2, so I don't really.
No, like I don't know, like there's a necromancer on the loose in Summoner's Rift, and then instead of like, but the game is the. I don't think it was a very good analogy. I feel like I completely lost a friend there somewhere.
Yeah.
I was
who's coming back to life?
I was well, not a freak out.
Yeah, well.
I was kind of waiting for you to save me from that one instead.
Yeah, no, sorry.
To the wolf.
Yeah, you deserve to be under the bus for that one, to be honest. And I just wanted any excuse to talk about Diablo 2's Necromancer. I loved it. Back in the day, none of these teeth builds that the speedrunners do. That ain't fun. Just
can we bring this game alive? I'm gonna go on a limp and say no Outlaws, but Afreeca, try to prove me wrong.
That's a lot of inhibitors that are now dead as Lahens comes for the flank. Looks for Ruler there in the back line. He does go down to his GA as Emperor's Divide. Only on to Keen, who goes down to his GA as well. Bang is eradicated. I have a feeling the wallets are too heavy as Gen.G stand fast and take down Afreeca. It's a triple kill somehow for the Nidalee, who decides that he wants to be a bit of a carry towards the end of this one. Nicely done by Clid, but here we go. Gen.G with their Infernal Soul, their Elder Drake, and their Baron are going to be able to take this one down as BDD says, take down the Nexus, and they say, with pleasure, sir. Gen.G, get that